Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, I am absolutely ecstatic to be joined this evening by a guy who's going to be throwing down in the Lion's Den for the first time. We're excited to have him, make his debut at FightersRep, and he's going to be taking on Joshua Caldwell for a super middleweight title. It's quite the way to debut. It's Jiovanni Leroux. How are you doing, Gio?
Doing, George. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
Man, listen, we're so excited to have you on. We've heard tons about you, about your gym. I've been watching you from the sidelines. Yeah, I'm excited to have you on, man. Before we get into this fight and everything else, tell us a little bit about, who Jiovanni Leroux is in a nutshell.
Oh well, quick in a nutshell. I'm a East Coast boy from Jersey City, born and raised. Came out here about 7 years ago. I played some college football as well. I went to University of New Haven. And man, I'm just a guy that just addicted to the adrenaline rush, man. That's all I love, man. With me being able to get that heart rate going up, I'm in it.
Yeah, yeah. Gio, it's a lot of athletes that, I guess nearing the end of their athletic careers, they're shifting over to the fight game now. You sound like one. I know Joshua Caldwell, your opponent, is also one of those guys, played football and other things. But what kind of made you gravitate towards fighting, right? Because it takes a special kind of person, not everybody has the heart to step in there and fight.
100%. I think that's one of the biggest things, man. One of the quotes that I like the most is most men live a life of quiet desperation. And I never wanted to be an older man and think, man, I could have, or I would have, or I should have done this. So I looked at every type of challenge that I can to just go head first into, learn, get into it, really do it so that I can never live without any regrets. Especially coming in as an athlete, an ex-athlete. My career was kind of cut short through an injury. I was stabbed in 2015, but coming
Jeez.
back, I was able to do what I had to do and prove people wrong.
Wow, so you were stabbed, you said. That's how your career ended.
Correct. Yes,
Was
sir.
this in football?
This was no, not nah, not. We weren't playing prison football. It wasn't that kind.
No, no. I'm asking if it was a career you had in football that came
Yes,
to an end, or
yeah, it was during my football career. Yes, correct.
okay. And I mean, do you mind giving me a little detail, or is that something you want to shy away from?
Would never shy away from anything. Never. But looking into it, long story short, protecting a friend of mine growing up in Jersey City. If anybody knows about Jersey City, they understand it's not the best place in the world, but it's the most beautiful place in the world. And it takes a special type of person to grow up there and survive there, and not only survive but thrive. So I continue to show the resilience that Jersey City has.
Got you, got you. So Gio, another thing that kind of piqued my interest about you is the last name Leroux. I feel like that's a very francophone name, kind of like myself. I got Francis going on. If you could just fill me in on that, because I'm curious.
All right. So most people usually they assume if you just read my name, they would assume that I'm Haitian or Italian because Italian first name, Haitian or French last name to be. But
Right, right.
in Dominican, born like I said, born in Jersey City, New Jersey, and the last name comes from if you know anything about the history of Dominican Republic or of the island of Haiti and Santo Domingo. The France owned it first before it's the Spaniards. So whoever back in the days, somebody gave my great granddaddy that last name from France. So it's
I see, I see, I see. So you're Dominican.
yes, sir. Claro que sí.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. I love that. Shout out to the Dominican Republic. Gio, you mentioned an athletic career. I actually played basketball in high school,
Nice.
and my coach was one of the first, if not the first, Latinos in the NBA.
Nice.
Shout out to Hugo Cabrera, and he is from the Dominican Republic, brother. So big shout out to him.
Power, baby.
For sure, for sure. And, I grew up in Miami, so a lot of Dominican friends and people I knew growing up. So very familiar with the East Coast there. I wanted to ask you, Gio. So you had this football career. It kind of got cut short,
Hmm.
and you got into fighting. You got into fighting. What is it about fighting? Why'd you choose fighting? Do you must have that in your spirit somewhere to choose this sport? I mean, it's not for the faint of heart.
Oh yeah, 100%. To even do a sport like football, you got to be half crazy to jump on the field.
Right.
But it's a primal need. There's many people who come from different places. And anybody who's alive today, you have to realize that before us, our ancestors were survivors. You know, the people that the only reason why we're here is because our greats were the winners of their war. You know, so
Right, right.
it's in our blood, whether we want to shy away from it or not, or we want to choose a more passive route. But having organizations like FightersRep and having these organizations, you know, allow young men and young women to come out and, you know, feed that warrior spirit that, in other words, if you go to a 9 to 5, you know, it doesn't quite feed that part of you. So I kind of look at fighting like it found me. You know, I have uncles who boxed. I have, you know, family members who did their things out in the street and etc. And
Right,
it
right.
naturally came in with my blood. And just coming into the dojo was one of my first times coming in here, and I had the benefit of, you know, having my sensei Peter Sugarfoot Cunningham be the first sensei I've ever had. You know, so
That's a heck of a start.
oh man, it's a beautiful start, and so many blessings have come out of here, out of House of Champions, and so many legends and lineage that comes out of here. It just fit perfect for me. I actually just passed by the dojo one day, and I thought, hey man, I just want to do this, you know. And I already had a little bit of hands from playing around, and you know, growing up where I'm from, you know, we throw hands for fun. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, did you grow up? I mean, you mentioned that. Did you grow up fighting a lot? Were you a scrappy kid growing up?
To honestly, tell you the truth, I got along very well with my peers. I've only had to fight in every city at least once, just to, you know, let everybody know what. But amongst my peers, I was very well loved. I did have a little bit of issue with authority figures growing up, so there was a lot of pent up energy there because I wasn't able
Yeah,
to
yeah.
think that. But coming into it, I've always with my friends, and you know, anytime out in the street to be able to protect yourself, like I said, I'm more than likely to protect myself, and you can never threaten me with a good time. So that's one thing, we never shy away from a challenge.
I love that, Gio. I love it, man. So, House of Champions, you mentioned you walked in there, Sugarfoot Cunningham, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, kickboxer of all time, is your inaugural coach. Tell me what it's like been training at House of Champions. And now it looks like you're doing some of the training now, too. You
Sure.
mentioned you were just covering a class. So talk to me a little bit about that.
So Mark Power, man, he's the owner of House of Champions, the starter of House of Champions. They all come from Benny the Jet's gym, the Jet Center. And when I came in, you know, that I showed love. I come with everything that I do, as you see, and when you start to meet me more, I do everything with enthusiasm. So coming into the boxing classes and moving around, I just naturally have an energy. In my football career, I was the same guy that when you saw me in the first quarter, I was running the same speed in the fourth quarter. Captain Chaos was the nickname. I loved, I loved watching people get tired, and that gave me more energy. So whenever I came into this gym, I noticed that, you know, there was a there was a need for the energy, the extra energy to come in and, you know, be enthusiastic about it. And as time went on, I worked myself into a situation where, you know, I started not only taking the boxing classes but started to teach the boxing classes, because coming from my background, I have a little bit more of a boxing movement in my hand. So I like to show that off a little bit, especially with my head movement. And they bless
Yeah,
me with the
yeah.
help train and you know, shape the younger minds that are here at House of Champions.
I mean, you grow up in the Northeast, you're of Dominican or any sort of Caribbean descent, you're pretty much guaranteed to be interested in
Yeah.
boxing or have some kind of, boxing training behind you. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, Gio, I'm really excited to have you on. You're going to be taking on the champ in the super middleweight division at Fighters Rep.
Sure.
Joshua Caldwell, the Crook. He's a very tough guy.
Yes, sir.
He's long. He's strong. He's tough. He's got good skills. But from what I've seen from you as well, you also have that speed. You've got the explosiveness, and you definitely got a dog in you from what I've seen in the limited kind of video footage I've been able to see from you. I mean, what are your thoughts on this fight? How do you think you match up against Joshua?
And I'm so excited for this fight. Uh, you know, even after watching that last interview or what he did, his promo, man, that fired me up. I love that kind of talk. Whenever I see that kind of stuff, it just wakes me. I like things that excite me, you know. So, you know, for a little while now, I've been fighting for a little less than a year now, but it's been hard, you know, to find fights or people who want to match up with me. It's been far and few between. So I've been just trying to be active, you know,
Yeah.
and see him and knowing that he's a great champ. I give him that. He's a great champion. The Fighters Rep promotion I've always loved because it's action packed and I'm all about action. So I'm so excited to make my debut with you guys. As far as Joshua Caldwell, I see him. He's a very strong opponent, man. I think he's somebody that, like you said, he has a football background. There's a different type of dog with athletes who played, you know, football, rugby, or any of those hard contact sports. So I'm just looking forward to go head first, especially with the taller guys. I love it, man. They have this sense of confidence when they see me. You know, I'm 5'8". I don't shy away from it. And they have this sense of confidence, and they, you know, they look at me a certain way in the weigh-ins, and right before the ring, the bell starts. But the moment I put my hands on them, that face changes, and that's my favorite part. I love watching that change from full confidence to, oh no, what did I sign up for? So I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, you know, you guys have, you know, you mentioned the height. You guys have a similar opponent, a common opponent in Christian Zoller,
Yes, sir.
who, you know, I think after he fought Josh Caldwell became a different guy. I think that loss really lit a fire in him.
Yes.
And you had a fight with Zoller, and you know, I spoke to Zoller and his coach about your upcoming fight with Joshua, and they were intrigued. They were intrigued because the height, you know, they actually think the height. I mean, some people look at, you know, being the shorter guys a disadvantage, but sometimes it's a bit tougher to fight shorter guys. You know, sometimes the range is a little bit different. You know, kind of talk to me about how you're planning on utilizing that to your advantage.
Shout out to Christian Zoller and his coach. They're great guys. I know them personally from, you know, other events that we've been on. I have no beef when it comes to this because this is organized fighting. You understand? So
Yeah, yeah.
it's all love for me. Anytime you see me at the events, anybody can tell you if they know who I am. They know who I am. And man, I always come with love. The refs love me. Everyone loves me, because I just appreciate that you're even doing this. The first time we took the fight with Zoller, he stepped in short notice, and it was like I had nothing but respect for him. I kept commending him, and we did a great fight. Coming up the first time around, I was able to end it, and second time around, his coaches, man, shout out to them. They made a great adjustment on me because I was going for a kill shot, and they got me before I got them.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha.
it was definitely a great adjustment on their end on the second round, and I always, every time I see them, I give them so much praise for it because as a fighter, my main thing is after I'm done fighting, the reason I'm fighting is to put proof in my pudding, you know, because coaching is really something that I'm passionate about. I have another fighter. His name is the Big Show Joe, and I have no doubts that he'll be there soon as well. He's undefeated right now as well, but that's a guy that I coach, and I always love the coaching aspect of things. As far as height wise, coming into it, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. I'm 5'8", but a lot of the times with the body work, I make everybody that's 6 foot whatever 5'8" by crumbling them down little by little. And everybody has saw that with me. So that's the plan. It's the plan to go out there, execute, be explosive, be smart with my decisions, and be elusive, man, and have a good time. I'm there to put on a show. I always go for best in show. Whatever showcase I'm in, whatever I'm with any of my students or anybody like that, the thing we aim for is to be the best in show, and that's what I plan on being.
And that's what we plan to put on Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, please do so now at FightersRep.com because you're not going to want to miss the fights on this card. We've got 4 title fights, including Giovanni's fight against Joshua Caldwell, an absolute must-watch. If you can't make it for whatever reason, you can catch the live stream right on our YouTube channel by joining the channel or by joining it through our website at FightersRep.com. Subscribe, like, comment, share, and be sure to follow Jiovanni Leroux on Instagram at Giovanni.Leroux. You're not going to want to miss what this guy's got in store. Gio, man, this fight on Saturday night, we're just 3 days away, man. I mean, how are you feeling about this right
I'm
now?
great. The weight is great. Man, I'm just looking forward to these weigh-ins so I can actually see him in person, feel him in person. You know, he talks about the Crook Show, so I'm excited to see that as well because me and you know both very well. There's no such things as halfway crooks, so we're gonna find out.
Oh, shoot, I love it. And these chocolates, I mean, these chocolates in front of you. Are you waiting
Uh,
for weigh-in or what's going on?
this is a present for the dojo. I don't touch these. These are not.
So Gio, you know, you mentioned your coaching as well. You know, I'm sure that's helping you tighten up your own skills as well. You know, by showing people how to do this thing of ours is how I like to refer it. This thing of ours. You know, how long have you been coaching?
I've been coaching now for about 2 years. Since I've been at the House of Champions, I've always stepped up as a leader role in every play or any team that I've been a part of. I've always stepped up and learned. I was taught very early on by my coaches that I've had in, you know, Hoboken football. And I was taught very early on by my coaches that I've had in, you know, Hoboken football. And I was taught very early on by my coaches that I've had in, you know, Hoboken football. And I was taught very early on by my coaches that I've had in, you know, Hoboken they always told me when you get to teach it, you get to learn it twice, you know. So that was that's the way that I approach my teaching. I'm very
Yeah.
hands-on. So that's something that I always look forward to, especially being able to, you know, perfect my craft, because the more you know, the less you know. So I'm always attacking everything that I can in that way, so I can always learn the most.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure though that football mentality translates incredibly well over to the fight game. I mean, so much intensity, and when I saw the few clips that I've been able to see of you fighting, that's the first thing that came to mind is that intensity, man. I just saw a guy out there that was not only having a blast, but that
Yeah.
was trying to run through the person in front of them. Tell me what kind of comes out of you when you're in that ring, because you seem like a complete animal in there.
Nah, I mean, I said it earlier, and I said it best. Is enthusiasm, man. I feel like there's no one happier than me on fight night. Uh,
Yeah,
I just anything that I do, I just have pure passion for it. If I don't have passion for it, I don't do it. You know, I'm actually a business owner as well. I own my own gym called Unit. It's one of those things that whenever I come into these kind of things, it's just passion for me, man. And there's
yeah,
nothing worse than living a life and not being able to say, man, I should have done that. Like, I go into everything knowing that, like, hey, this is what you said you wanted to do. You said you wanted all the smoke. You better not cough when it's up there. So I'm always up there and I'm ready for all of it. So that's what you see, especially when people see me. They see my stature. They usually assume that I'm gonna be a tank. I'm just gonna walk straight and I'm not gonna move around. But like like I know, that bachata is in my feet. So I like to move.
yeah. What can Jill? Speaking of which, what can people look for in your fight? I mean, for people that haven't been able to come and watch you fight in person, these people sitting on the fence maybe about buying tickets, why should they come out and buy these tickets and watch you? And what is it they should keep an eye out for when Jiovanni Leroux
Oh,
steps into the Lions Den?
well, first of all, I'm at FightersRep this time, baby. So that's already gonna be a great show. Second thing coming into it, I'm fighting a very game opponent. I'm fighting somebody who already has a name at FightersRep. So that's already a draw as well. But what you should expect from me is to never back down. I'm going to come full speed every time, but meticulously. And once I start to smell my prey get a little bit of tired, he starts getting tight, those eyes start to open up a little bit more because they're not realizing what's coming. You're going to see a different animal come out. And I'm going to do it with a smile. The same smile that I can say, hello, my name is Jiovanni Leroux. It's the same smile as I'm going to be there greeting you when you wake up from the canvas.
Man, you're dropping some heat on this interview today, Gio. You know, Also this kickboxing rule set. I mean, it seems to me you've been competing mostly in Muay Thai fights. That's pretty much what's popular around here. We are essentially the only kickboxing show, but you started out with Peter Cunningham. I mean, a guy known for his kickboxing. How do you feel that this style is going to work for you?
I honestly believe it's more suitable for me. I feel like a lot of times, though clinching is very, very important in Muay Thai and it can do a lot of damage and you can do a lot of things in the clinching, um, especially at the lower levels that we are right now, because we aren't professionals yet. This is still amateur at this level. There's a lot of just holding on. There's a lot
Yeah.
of survival in the clinch at this level. As people become more proficient, I always explain to people the basics are going to be the same throughout your career. The only difference that's going to change is the margin of error that you have as you go up in skill, as you go up in your profession. So the margin of error is going to be very important here. But now that it's more action packed, it's going to be. I believe there's some type of wiggle room with like clinching and stuff like that for this bout. But I don't really plan on hugging him. That's not my thing. I really really do appreciate the hand and the foot game, and I know that he's someone that's like that as well. So I feel as though it's gonna come down to blows, and I think that's what I'm excited for, because I know there's guys that once they feel me, they want to hug me. And they don't want to do it. They don't want to do the swinging anymore. So now that there's not going to be too much of that, I'm excited to see what I can do with that.
I cannot wait for this fight. Gio, he said in his promo, I don't know much about the guy, and God is good and I'm a humble man, but if I can predict anything, it's probably going to be a knockout. What is your response to that? What does Giovanni Leroux think goes down in this fight?
Well, if he's humble, I can do the humbling as well. But until then, the fight will be there. Keep that same energy. That fired me up. I love it. And there's not going to be any loss of love. I just want the best of you. I don't want anything else. I don't want no excuses. Deliver on what you say, because I'm here for it.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, Jiovanni Leroux is locked in and ready to go on Saturday night. And again, if you haven't gotten your tickets, you're absolutely insane. Get them at FightersRep.com. Gio, before I let you go, man, anyone you want to shout out, anything additional you want to say, I really appreciate your time today, but the floor is yours. Anything you want to say, anyone you want to shout out, anyone you want to thank.
A couple shout outs for the people that have helped, people, my training partners down at Yakubian, Peterson Grapplers as well, and also Ace Martial Arts. They're a new gym and new dojo. I wanted to take, shout out to them. Those are people that have helped me, get ready and, not only for this fight, but for fights way before then. These are our sister schools and people that we always look forward to working with. So I always shout out to them. And also, if anybody ever needs any personal training, come down to Unit Training Facility. I'll always be there to help you.
Let's go. Let's go. And one more question, Gio. I mean, what would it mean? What would it mean to capture this Fighters Rep super middleweight title, hang it up there at the House of Champions? What would that mean for you?
I mean, less of what it would mean for me, but more of what it would show, my students and the people around me. They understand where I come from. They know what I do, and what I do it with. And it's just to show them there are no excuses. There's never an excuse. You can always go for the top and, keep striving. So that's really all it is for me. It's going to be another stepping stone. It's going to be one belt of many that I continue to go and collect. And like I said, this is still amateur. There's going to be so much more that we're going for once we turn pro and once we go up. And like I said, man, I'm ready for all of it. And who knows, I'm going to be playing in different weight divisions as well. So I'm looking to collect multiple belts.
Absolutely. I love this. I hope we're a part of the trajectory of your career. If you ever want to turn pro, obviously we'd love to have you here and continue to grow what I think are the best strikers probably in the country and in the region right here in SoCal. Man, Gio, I want to thank you again so much for your time. I am so looking forward to Saturday night. Your fight, I just got a feeling it's going to be an absolutely explosive fight,
Sir.
and it's not one that anybody should miss. So again, everybody should go out and get their tickets.
Yes, sir.
Gio, man, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great night. I hope you rest up, and I'll see you on Friday at the weigh-ins, brother.
I appreciate you, George. I appreciate you, Fighters Rep, and I can't wait to go out there and represent, baby.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Gio Leroux. Have a great one, Gio. Thank you, man.